to Summer Lunch Break, a show where we break bread with wake legends around the world. Today, we sat down with none other than the king of style himself, Trever Maur. Trever talks with us about what it's like being a pro wakeboarder, a filmer, a content creator, as well as recently becoming a new dad. He also unpacks what it's like getting stuck in an airport with Randall Harris, filming multiple X Games parts, dealing with the police during some winch sessions, and so much more. You guys are really going to enjoy this episode today. So without further ado, drum roll please, it's Trever Maur.
You know what I'm really scared about is if the wakeboarders get too close to shore, they may use some people on the shore as bonking items.
Foremost, I want to know what you have for lunch today.
Okay, so right now I've been on a little bit of a diet, on the Whole30 diet. I'm actually past 30 days, but I'm still sticking to it because I like the way my body's been feeling. So I got grapes. Oops, one grape just fell. Grapes and bananas, and then eggs and some coffee.
Sweet. I got my
keeping it nice and chill.
Got my lunch box.
That's like a nice. I was gonna say that's a good lunch pail.
Every day, pack my lunch every day. So let's see.
Well, that's good way to save some money.
Yeah, because all the guys here are always like, let's get tacos, let's get burgers. I'm like, I can't. Not every day. First off, I guess I want to start by asking about just like, you know, you're a pro rider, but you definitely make a really big mark in like the video world and content creation. So I just want to know kind of, you know, I guess why you lean one way more so than the other and that kind of thing.
For sure. Well, to actually answer that question, I feel like I'm trying to not necessarily lean one way or the other. I feel like they kind of are cohesive in a sense. So when I started wakeboarding with my family back in the day, I really enjoyed it, right? So at one point when you're like, okay, I'm enjoying it too, I want to get my first sponsor. I remember being in like high school and being like, I want to get sponsored. So how do you get sponsored? Well, you make a sponsor me tape, right? So I started making videos to try to get sponsored. And that's kind of what kicked off I actually enjoy this. This is fun. Like making videos is really cool. And I kind of just used that tool to go hang out with my friends and be able to like continue to pursue this, right? So now not only am I wakeboarding, but I'm also filming everybody and I'm getting jobs filming everybody and I'm getting jobs to be able to, you know, go wakeboard. And some jobs I, you know, go film without my wakeboard, and then others I'm just wakeboarding and I'm not filming. So they kind of cohesively go together, and I feel like they've taken me into different places in my career, which is like really cool. But yeah, as far as like one outstanding the other, maybe in other people's eyes they do, but in mine, they're like a unit and they work together. And if I didn't have one, it'd be hard for me to continue to do the other. Like if I didn't have filming, I think wakeboarding, the way that I do wakeboarding, like not so much contest oriented, but more like filming and stuff, my wakeboarding wouldn't really, my career side of it wouldn't really exist. And if I didn't wakeboard, I actually don't enjoy filming other things. I enjoy filming wakeboarding. So I don't know if my filming career would really exist. I think they both just mesh together.
When you're like filming pieces and like you have a part like in that video, is it like, you know, how does that feel to be like, okay, like I'm going to edit this later and like what's that like?
Well, it's kind of a double-edged sword because one, you have a really high standard for yourself, not that the standard for filming and creating content for others isn't just as high, but you're looking at it through different glasses, I guess, if you want to say. Like, I'm not Josh Twelker, I'm not Randall Harris, I'm not these guys. So when I edit their piece, I'm not fine-tuning like, oh, did I like my arm like that or like that? Or, you know what I mean? Like just the little things. But when it comes to my own editing of my own videos, I'm not only critiquing the shot if it's shaky, if it's good. But now I'm also critiquing my own riding in a higher standard because I am my own person and I want my riding to look the way that I want it. So it's a, like I said, it's a double-edged sword. I got to put out all my own content. I got to like manage what I look like in front of others, but I'm also super critical. So when somebody else, in my opinion, might get like 10 shots, I might get like 2 because I'm just like hypercritical of the shots that are going to make it into the content that I put out. But it's fun. Like I said, if we're going out on a trip, I've taught like everybody else that's in my crew how to use a camera. So I'll hand Josh the camera. Josh films me. He's really good at it now. And I got a couple other guys that I do the same thing with. So we all feed off each other. He asks me questions about filming. I ask him questions about riding. It's fun. I enjoy it.
Yeah,
So,
that's sick. Sweet.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I guess you mentioned filming with Randall Harris, and I feel like he doesn't film with a lot of people. So how, what's it like? What's it like filming with him?
Randall's he's the man. I met him when he was like already way into his career. So he had already come back from his like first hiatus. And so prior to that, I had just been a fan. I saw him in the magazines. One of the guys that was, because I used to be a member at a private lake because we didn't really have very many good lakes around there to ride at. So we got like a little membership. And one of the guys at the lake had his previous boat. So I remember being like, that's Randall Harris's boat. That's so cool. So I was like a major fan. And then once we started kind of touring, we did like a Axis tour. And he was on the trip and I was on the trip and we met up at the airport and definitely just like kind of clicked. It was kind of like an awkward thing though. I was like trying not to be super fan. And he was like, definitely he had to have been aware that I was like super fan for sure, but it ended up clicking really well. And from that we filmed Al Sur, we filmed Dog Days. We've done tons of small edits in between, and our relationship as friends have grown. And so yeah, now he's kicking it with his daughter and down south a little bit more. I haven't seen him as much, but we have some big plans doing some stuff this year. So
Okay.
yeah, it'll be fun. He's the best. He's always in a good mood and always like excited to watch you ride, even though you never feel like your riding is as good as his. You're always like, I don't want to go after Randall, but even if you do, he makes you feel like you just like rode the best you ever had, which is sick. So
yeah,
he's the man.
Sweet.
I love him.
That's awesome. Yeah, you talk about like try not to fan too hard. That's how I feel right now. Just be chill, like it's okay.
Yeah. I mean, oh man, my first time meeting Randall was like I remember the connecting flight to our location to where we were meet up with a bunch of people didn't go through. So we had to stay at the airport and then we had to get a hotel. And I remember going up to the hotel like kiosk and I'm thinking like, oh man, I'm going to be staying with Randall tonight. And the guy at the desk was like, so do you need 1 room or 2? And I'm thinking you're going to be like 1 room, 2 beds, like 2 queen size beds just hanging out as buddies. And he's like 2 rooms. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Okay. Yeah. 2 rooms. We need 2 rooms. And then I remember like, we were going to go down to eat some dinner at the cafe. And he was like, yeah, you want to meet up down there? And so then we sat down in this like little table of like 2 chairs. And I'm like, oh my God, like this is so weird. I'm just like, trying to like figure out what to say in front of Randall, like, and we're just like, yeah, it was funny. It was like a full-on date, but it wasn't, obviously. It was just, but it was like I was like just trying to hold my composure. It was hilarious. I was young. I was young. I was young. I was young. I had to have been like 18.
That's awesome.
So
2 rooms. That's so funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to talk about like Dog Days and Al Sur, like just like what like if someone were gonna say like, oh, like what was it like how would you like funnel that down to like talk about it? Like,
man, they're 2 completely different experiences.
Yeah, okay, start with one and then go to the other.
So I'll start with Al Sur. Al Sur was crazy. I actually almost didn't even take the job. So I was asked by Chad Lowe to come and film a movie, and I did not want anything to do with it because it was Mexico. I was slightly scared of Mexico. I'd never been there before. And you just hear stories and I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, dude, you got to come out and film this. There's this guy named Renee. He's putting it on. It's going to be sick. We have these riders coming out, blah, 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 the whole thing. And I was like, okay, still don't know. So I literally didn't take the job until the day before we flew out. I called Renee and I was like, yo, I'm into it. Why don't you fly me out? And so like, it was like a last whim type of thing. When we went out there, it wasn't even supposed to be a full movie. It was supposed to be like a web video. And when I got there, had a super good time filming with everybody. The crew was super rad. We went to this lake that was like super blue. It was called Bacalar, and it was just rad. But we sat down and we're like, you know what? This could be a really cool full length. Why don't we send it? And so from that, I think we brought in a few more people. I can't remember. I think we brought in Danny Harf, Aaron Rathie. I can't remember if Randall was on that trip. I'm not sure if Randall was on that first trip or not. I can't remember. But if not, we brought in Randall, Twelker, Cook, and we just made a massive like group of just high-end riders, along with all the people that were already there. Nicola Butler, Melissa Marquette, Eddie Valdez, Kyle Rattray, Chad Lowe was there. And at the time when I first went there, I was not a rider in the video. So like he brought me into film. So I just like took a set in between filming, and Renee was in the boat, the guy that was putting the video on, and he was like, you're in the video. And I was like, I don't know. And he was like, no, for sure. You're like actually going to be a rider in the video. I was like, okay. So that's kind of what kicked off the whole thing. I was like, all right, well, cool. I get to come down here and ride. I get to come down here and film. And he just sent us to everywhere in Mexico. I mean, I got to see so much. I got to get a lot of cultural experiences in, meet a lot of really cool people down there. And yeah, it was fun. It was fun. And it was just a very crazy time, I guess, because we were just on the go. Like in fact, this was like one of the cool things. I try to do this a lot because I think it's fun, but I don't know. Whenever I go somewhere, I never research it. So,
okay.
So the first time I went to Mexico, I never saw a photo of the place. I didn't like know anything. I just kind of like go. And I just trust that the people that are sending me are like good people and they're sending me into somewhere cool. I've been doing this for like a while now. And so like when I went to the first place, I didn't know what Bacalar looked like. I didn't know where I was going or how far south it was. I just like got on a plane, and I literally remember like maybe a half an hour from when we landed, I like looked on like my phone because I could get on the internet on the plane. And I was like, oh, this place is where am I going? So yeah, it was crazy. Did that, and I did that on every single trip that we did. So I would just show up and be like, whoa, this is awesome. So
Dang,
yeah,
jump in head first. Jeez.
Yeah, just didn't really know what I was doing, but it was fun, man. It was really cool. So that was my Alcera experience. Was just like a lot of fun, a lot of trips, a lot of great people, and yeah, it was cool. The premiere was cool. Everybody in wakeboarding showed up at like one of the bars down in Florida. That was like one of the funnest nights. My dad flew out for that. My dad doesn't really come to too much of the wakeboarding. He used to be so into it. Like back in the INT days, he would like drive, but then he like hasn't been doing much. But he came to the premiere and was like hanging out with Parks, and it was cool. That was a cool night. So then fast forward to Dog Days. That one was the first movie that I put on by myself. So I had to go out and get the sponsors, the funding, do the social media, do the filming, ride in it, and the whole thing. So that was a bit of a different experience, but it was with all of my West Coast friends and riders, and there was a huge crew of them. I mean, like the rider list on that is not only like top notch, but they're all my really good friends, and they're all on the West Coast. And so it was like a very special video to film in the sense of like everybody was just like meshing, which was awesome. And yeah, that one was a bit different, less trip oriented, more just like going to people's houses and just always on the go. But we filmed a lot and made a lot of memories, so that was cool. So yeah, that was I don't know, it was a special one. So yeah. It's been a while since I've done a video since though, because Ulster in 2014, Dog Days in 2016, and I haven't done one since. So it's been a bit of a hiatus.
Should we plan on one coming up?
I think there's some stuff in the works right now. Let's just say I got some stuff in the works, so we might be. I don't want to put anything out yet, but soon.
Got it. Okay, good to know.
Mm-hmm.
Good to know. For like going off like people on the West Coast riding, that's like a huge thing, especially for like us here at AWS. Like we're on the West Coast. We kind of, you know, it's weird, like especially for me, because I I like to look into all these pros, and like I see what life is like over where they ride and stuff. It's like, dang, like the whole year round thing is crazy. Like we don't really do that here. Like
yeah, but there's something to be said about having seasons. Like I get the whole round thing is good and awesome, and you know what, those riders that do get to do that excel like crazy. Like if you look at their riding, like they're doing, like for instance, Tyler Hyam's a great example. He's from West Coast. He got really good on the West Coast, but every single time, for like, it was before he moved to Florida, there was 2 winters that he would go to Florida to ride and then come home. His riding would just get crazy super good, right? But at the same time, seasons are good. It's good to take a break. It's good to like refresh, hit the refresh button, like get your mind right and like get creative and have time to think instead of just always being in a mode of riding. Because like in the middle of summer, if it was like that all year round, like I don't think very much. I just go, and it's just hard to take a second to like process your thoughts and like come up with ideas and come up with like things other than just riding. Which so I don't know. I personally like seasons. I think it's good that it gets too cold here to ride. Personally.
Yeah.
That's me. I'm sure other.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, I'm sure it's different for other people. I'm sure some people just like to put their head down and go. But for me, it's like, I need other influences other than wakeboarding. And I think it's good to take the time to like hit the refresh button.
For sure. What do you like? Like, what do you do when you're not like wakeboarding, like off season stuff, like day to day?
Prior to this year, I have a baby.
That's true.
Having a little one, 9-month-old, while mom is doing school and we haven't quite transitioned them into daycare yet. A lot of my time now is taking care of the kiddo. Once I think next year, once we get him into daycare, my winters will be a little bit more back to like what they were normally, but this year's is just a little bit different. But typically, man, I feel like I'm planning. So I do a lot of things on the computer. I do a lot of editing and try to catch up on all the footage that I've stockpiled throughout the year, which is good. I do a lot of planning for the future, whether it's videos or just kind of all that stuff. And then I like to just typically go to Santa Cruz and surf for a couple days here and there. Same thing, go snowboarding and just get out and get your mind like off of wakeboarding and just kind of hit the reset button, I guess.
Yeah.
I always pick up things to do. Like I guess last year I built a bus. Yeah, I mean, like I don't know. I just try to always get my mind off of wakeboarding and creative somewhere, just so like my mind stays like fresh and not repetitive. So
yeah. Well, you have like creative mind to the max for sure. So that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, there's some people that probably just put their heads down and that's how they want to do it. They just want to get strong, fit, and consistent. That's just not me.
I got it. I'd be the same way. I'd be like, no, I'm gonna take a break, go up to the mountain, do this, that for sure. For sure. Well, you mentioned Tyler. You filmed. This was another question I was gonna ask you about, just like winning bronze filming for X Games Real Wake. I mean, tell me about that.
That was an adventure. Yeah, I mean, I filmed Josh Twelker 2 years prior to that for X Games, and it was just like a full, full steam ahead for, I mean, what was it, a month or 2 months, I think, of filming, and it's just crazy. It's just like you just don't put your camera down, you don't stop, you just go unless they get hurt or need time, but like you realistically just go. So I kind of already knew what I was getting into with Ty. And with that, I hit up Josh to see if I can get a right-hand man, because he just knew what goes into it. And then my other buddy Hayden. So it was honestly like the three of us tackling this with Ty. And yeah, it was cool. We just kind of came up with a plan. And the biggest part about that whole entire thing was Ty obviously wanted to have the tricks. I obviously was trying to think about the video. And ultimately, I wanted to shoot Ty's section like a skate film. And so I personally wanted every single trick that Ty did at a different location. So I don't know if anybody really caught on to that or not, but every single trick, whether it's boat or winch, is at a different location. So we would land a trick in the Delta, and then we would take the boat out and we would go to Shasta, and we would land one trick at Shasta, and then we would take the boat out and we would go to Oregon. And we were pretty much like, my thought process on it was like, well, if we have the time to do this and each trick is supposed to be special in its own way, why don't we make the scenery of the whole entire video change every single place we go? And so that was super fun. That was the first time I've ever had that mentality of like one trick, one lake, one trick, one winch spot. So it came out pretty cool. I don't know. I was pretty stoked on it. So
it's
music
sick.
is the hardest part. Music is the hardest part. And it's like, I feel like we scored on having a good song. Like it wasn't like the worst song at all, but it was just a pretty repetitive song. I wish that the music library was just opened up to like iTunes. So that we honestly, that band that we used has really good tracks that are like vocals and the whole thing. But they're just too expensive to get. So it's just like hard. So I think if they could figure out a way to make the music thing a little bit more opened up, and I think that would just put the cherry on the top for all these X Games sections.
For sure.
So,
yeah, that video's, it's sick. And it's cool because like someone like me, it's like, oh, I know where that is. I've seen that with my own eyes
well,
before.
we filmed a little bit of stuff kind of near your guys' shop.
Well, and like the shot at University of Oregon, I was like, no
Mhm.
way, that's crazy. Because
Yeah.
that's sweet. You can like see it there, even though I'm a beaver, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's pretty cool though to see the stadium in the background.
For sure. Yeah, no, it's sick. When you
One of the spots we went.
Go ahead. No, you go.
I'm gonna say one of the spots that we went to, there's a handrail that was like underneath a bridge, and that was right next to the university as well. And there'd always be like track runners or joggers, like all in their like university get up, and they were just like running right now. Like one shot, Ty fell, so I couldn't use it. But Ty gets on the rail, and this girl's jogging right next to him, and she's like, it was just so funny, so funny.
Oh, that's sick. When you pick out a winch spot, do you just like look at something? You're like, oh yeah, we could go off that. Or like, how do you determine like what you want to use? Because some of those spots are so, like.
Yeah, so one, Google Earth has opened up so much. Like I give so much bad respect to like some of the early day winchers that didn't have Google Earth, like Justin Fisher. I don't even know. I'm guessing the Shredtown guys had to have had, because they have so many crazy spots, but I have a feeling they probably didn't. I don't know. So, but those guys are crazy. The fact that they found all those spots back in the day without Google Earth is pretty wild. But pretty much you just show up to a spot, you see what you can hit and make sure that there's lines, make sure you can get the rope in the right spot, because that's kind of like sometimes could be the hardest part, is like being able to get the rope in the right spot. And then I typically try to look, I'm sure some people don't do this. Like I know for a fact, like Ty, for instance, doesn't do this. The first thing I do is see how many ways you can fall bad, and what's your like what's going to happen if you go worst case scenario. Because typically, I don't know if you've seen a lot of my crash reels, but they typically go worst case scenario at some point. So like I always just, before I even get to a spot, it's like, okay, how can I fall worst case scenario? And if I fall this way, what's going to happen? And if I feel like I can get an out of that, then I feel like typically it's a go for me. If I feel like it's like, if you fall, you die, I pretty much don't do it. where like some other people, like I've seen Graham do, sorry, I'm eating, now I'm burping. I know some of the stuff that Graham does, it's just like, what? Like, I don't think I would do that. So I don't know. I kind of calculate my spots, but everybody's a little different. Everybody sees different lines and different things that they can do. I think the Valdosta boys have like kind of opened up a lot of the way people think, because now they're like, oh, we can ride on grass this easy. I mean, I know it's not that easy, but like they make it look so easy. Now everybody thinks that like, okay, I can ride from grass to cement to this to that. I can do these. Like, I think they opened up the eyes of a lot of people on being able to like use different terrains to their advantage. So now it'd be interesting to go back to all these same winch spots and see if there's new lines, because I think my eyes have been opened up by some of the stuff that they're doing as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's crazy. Those are my favorite things to watch for sure. Cause it's just like boat tricks. I love boat tricks. They're sick. But like when somebody's like jumping off the side of a wall, like it's just crazy. It's really cool to see.
It's like a little bit more relatable in the sense that like, if you grew up watching skateboarding or snowboarding, you're instantly like, that makes sense to me. Where like the boat riding is like very vert ramp style skateboarding, where it's like, this is what goes on boat. So it's not that like, I love personally riding boat. It's my favorite aspect of wakeboarding. Like I feel most at home on boat. It's super fun. I feel like I'm free in a sense. Like if I need like a day to just like unwind, I'd rather go boating than to the cable or winch. But there's something about winching that after you get a clip winching, you're just like, you go home in the car and you're like, yes. Like, you know what I mean? You're just like so satisfied. Where like,
yeah,
I feel like boating and cable, you're just kind of like, I had a good day. It was cool. It was fun. But like winching, you're like, whew, sick. Put that one in the hard drive, back it up 3 times and call it good.
For sure. Yeah. Does it get like with getting like all these clips, like when you're making like, whether you're making a big, film, or if you're making, like a web video and it's smaller, does it get, is one like, is the big one, it sounds like a weird question to ask if the longer videos are more overwhelming than like the short ones, but it's almost like totally. Whittling down to something smaller versus like expanding, like what is that?
Web videos have changed. It's so crazy to watch. I feel like when I first started web videos, it was like right when Alliance was like getting into like web videos and all that stuff. And you could do like a 1-day video and it would be like the coolest thing ever, right? So like we could go out and in 1 day I could go film, edit, give it to Alliance, and then you pretty much have your edit and everybody's stoked on it, because there just wasn't that much web content around. There wasn't that much content. It was full videos or these brand new things called web videos. And so when I was doing it back then, it was like, okay, go out, film, come back, boom, easy. Like I felt like, I mean, easy. It was so easy. So then I feel like now, and I don't know if I'm doing it to myself, I might be doing it to myself, but my standards of like a web video nowadays is like a lot higher than it was. Like a day of filming, unless it's like a specific, like I write on the title, 1 day of filming, and it's like known that it's not going to be like the best edit, like I don't feel comfortable putting out content from 1 day of shooting, like maybe on the cable, because cable's more like a fun day at the park, but like an actual web video where you're like putting time in, like I'm gonna go and put weeks in before I put anything out. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand. Like I remember talking to some people and they were like, they'd be like, oh, if you could just do this video really quick. And I'm like, no, like it's not going to take me a real quick, like a web video to me is important. So now my level of web videos have gone like up in my own head to where like I feel like I need to keep my stuff at a certain caliber and not allow it to go, because it's very easy to allow yourself to do less. You know, it's a lot harder to be like, I'm not going to let this go out unless I put in all the efforts. So yeah, like for instance, like right now I'm just now finishing up some fat sack edits, and they're like for fat sack, it's like, I don't know, they're only a minute long,
Mhm.
And I've spent like so long editing on both. Like it's for Josh and then a video for me. And I spent so long editing these because I wanted to be like something of value. So
Totally.
I don't know. There's the side of web video, but then you take web video out. Well, actually, don't even take it out. If you take that web video and how much time I'm putting into that, like that's so small compared to a full length, because the difference is full length. Now you're filming for, let's say, a year, right? Or more. And now you have to not only be able to organize all your clips, but you have to go through them all and make sure that they're all perfect. Like everything like has to be organized so well so you can find it. And then when you're ready to edit, you have so much footage that like trying to even just pick out which clips go where and what you're doing with it all takes weeks in itself. Like it'll take me a week or two just to organize a whole like video, and it'll be like 8-hour days, and I'll just sit in front of the computer and just do like organizing, which is like so monotonous and so boring, but it is what it is. It has to happen. And then after that, you have to build all this stuff, and typically I'll build it and then tear it down and then rebuild it because I like think I'm on a roll, and then I'll have this new idea, and it's a full video, right? So this is like I think I re-edited multiple sections probably 5 times on Dog Days.
Damn.
Because I was just like, nope, this song's annoying now. Like, and if it's annoying to me, I'm not going to let it go. So like a song has to stay relevant like 1,000 times listening it over. Because I'm just sitting here like, so, like, I don't know. Full lengths are a lot. And then like you gotta like, unless you like have a team to where you can market it with other people and do all this other stuff, like you're the one doing it. So like you have running Instagram, getting photos, trying to put all this stuff on Instagram again, and then you're trying to make like little web videos to go along to promote it, and then your teasers, and then you got to make sure you have your banners, and you got to get your what do you call it, premieres all dialed. Then you still have to get the video done, get it sent out, get it like mastered, and hopefully everything's good, and then deal with music. And there's a lot that goes into full videos that like you might not think of, because you're like, oh, well, I do web videos. When you step it up into the full video, there's a lot that goes on, which is kind of what makes it fun, because when you accomplish it, you're like, wow, I did something that's like a lot more valuable than something that's going to live on the internet maybe forever, but it might be hard to find.
Yeah, for sure.
Like a full length is a lot easier to find, I feel like. So
yeah, that's wild. That's a lot of time. Do you ever feel like you're just like, I'm going crazy, like there's too many videos?
Yeah, sometimes I like overcommit. I've made a mistake of doing that a couple years, but I've gotten better at saying no. Like, no, I don't want to do this job. Where before I'd be like the yes man, like, oh yeah, totally, let's do this. Oh yeah, let's do this. Let's do this. And then next thing you know, I have like so many videos, and I'm like trying to be a professional wakeboarder, but then I'm stuck in the office and my like legs are getting like weak. You know what I mean? So you're just like battling this like time versus whatever. But I mean, the cool thing is I've had my sponsors that are like backing me have stepped up a lot and allowed me to feel like I can edit less, not their stuff, but like take less jobs to like, I don't know, to allow me to live, I guess. Because before I was taking everything just to make every single little dollar that I could. And now I feel like my sponsors have stepped up and allowed me to kind of like nitpick what I'm taking a little bit more, which is awesome.
For sure, yeah. Well, and now, you have a kid too, so like that's like a whole nother thing.
Oh,
crazy.
I mean, yeah, it's been pretty wild. Look at him, he's just so freaking cute.
Sweet dreams. Oh, that's awesome. What's that like, being a new dad? What is that like?
It's so sick. It's like, it's crazy because like, it's crazy. You just watch a human learn so fast. It's crazy because you think like in the time you're like, maybe like, oh, this is like all he's doing is pooping and crying, and then next thing you know he's like sitting up, and you're like, okay, and then the next thing you know he's doing this and doing that, and then he's like eating with a spoon, and then you're like, okay, this is crazy. And then he like we'll teach him something, and then if he gets it, it's like he gets it from now on. It's crazy. Like we taught him how to like pinch like food. And so like now he can like grab food. We taught him one day, and now it's like all he does is he just wants to grab things. And like it's cool, but it's a lot of work. They don't tell you that. I mean, they do, but they don't like tell you that. Like, I don't know. Everybody's like, oh, having a kid's the best thing ever all the time, which it is. But they leave out the it's a lot of work part. I feel like they're like, oh yeah, you'll have your hands full. You know, they kind of joke around, but it's like a real deal.
For sure.
Fun.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I hope he grows up to be a little shredder and nice kid. So me and Mama are gonna try to raise this kid right. See how it goes. We got 18 years with him in the house, right?
There you go. You're gonna kick him out after that?
I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
That's awesome.
See what kind of kid he is, and then we'll figure it out.
Right. Do you think are his first steps going to be followed by strapping into a board or what?
He's getting close. I'm not trying to like beat any record or anything. Parks here an animal. All the people else, like you guys are animals. He's 9 months. I guess technically I'd be strapping him in if I was trying to beat the record in like, I don't know, a couple of days, but I ain't doing that. But I'm definitely gonna get him out on the board this year. His neck is like strong enough, like where like last season it was like he was such a little baby. I was like, no way am I gonna like take him on a surfboard or anything like that. But he enjoys bath time and showers, which means he likes water in his face, which is cool. So I think I'll be able to get him on a life jacket and put him on like a surfboard or maybe on the wakeboard around the cable or something at low speeds or something, and go have some fun with him.
Sweet. Yeah, that'll be sick. Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Once it gets warm, he'll be out there.
Perfect. That's awesome. That's what we want to hear. How old were you when you wakeboarded for the first time?
So I grew up on the water, on the lake. Like my dad used to race jet skis back in the day. But I didn't actually wakeboard, I don't think, until I was 8. So started on like a scurfer.
Nice.
So yeah, but I would like ski and kneeboard and inner tube and all that stuff prior. So I have footage from my like childhood being like months old in a crib on the beach at my dad's like races. So like I've been outside on the beach for a while.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Dang. So. That's cool. Racing jet skis.
Yeah.
I've never even, we'll race them like out on the Willamette here, but I've never like seen like a legit jet ski race. That's so
they're
sick.
cool. I did one back in 2016. I didn't do one. I did like a whole year's worth of them in 2016. And then I blew my ski up and didn't have the money to fix it. So I just got it fixed, and I'm hoping to do at least one race this year. They're fun. Yeah. They set up buoys and stuff, and then you're pretty much like, they'll line up like 20 guys all on their skis, and then they all have people holding the back side of them up. So I like when you're like, because you'll be on the throttle, right? Like, and they're like holding you up so your prop's not engaged. And then they have this like rubber band that's like in front of it. And then they like have the full on moto boards out there, and they'll be like ding, ding, boop. And then the rubber band snaps, and like everybody drops their skis, and you're like, wah! And then it's like 20 jet skis going into like a turn, and it's like, you can't see, like if you're behind first, so if you're not first, you can't see, and you're just pretty much like full throttle blind, because like everybody's prop wash is in your face, and you're just like, wow. It's super wild. It's one of the most, I don't know, just that first buoy is like one of the most like adrenaline rush things I've ever done in my life, where you're just like, all right, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make it to that buoy, but here we go. It was pretty intense.
That's sweet. So, dang, that's crazy. Yeah, I want to watch that. I'm gonna look that up now so I can see what it looks like, because that sounds.
Yeah, I race the older skis, like not the stand-ups, but they're like called X2s. So they're like, they look like motorcycles with like fixed handlebars, but they like are as skinny as the stand-ups are. So I've been racing those. But they're fun.
Would that be your career path of choice if you didn't do what you do now?
I always told myself that's what I was going to do. So when I was 12, so the year that I turned 12, back in the day, you could ride a jet ski at 12 years old. Like the law was like you could be 12 and like rip around the lake on a ski. And so I remember my whole childhood, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get a jet ski at 12. Me and my dad are gonna we're gonna be racers. Like that was like the goal. And pretty much when I turned 12 the same year, they changed the law to 16. And I was like, well, that's convenient. And so I remember when I was 15, I talked to my dad. I want a jet ski. I got to get a jet ski. And he told me I had to work for it. So I started a neighborhood lawn mowing business. And I went to every house in my whole entire complex and put flyers in the doors that said I'd mow their lawn for $20. And then I attached the lawnmower to my bike, like with like bungee cords or something. And I would ride my bike to every single house and like that was hired me and mow their lawns for $20. And I saved up enough money to buy my first stand-up at the age of like 15, like towards the end of 15. So when I turned 16, me and my dad like rebuilt it and made it all good and started riding. But I didn't race, I just started riding. But I remember like, because at that point I was pretty into wakeboarding, but I wasn't like I wasn't on a path to wakeboarding, but I was like enjoyed it. So like we would go to the houseboat, I'd jet ski, I'd wakeboard, jet ski, wakeboard. And then once I like really took off on the wakeboarding thing, like all my jet ski dreams just kind of got pushed aside. And then yeah, like in 2016, I pretty much convinced my dad to rebuild his ski. So that because me and my family don't live next to each other. We lived like 2.5 hours. And so we kind of just like stopped getting together as much. Like we used to go to the lake every single day. And then once I moved, it was like, okay, now we don't do much together. And so that was like my like, all right, Dad, let's race so we can meet up on the weekends and we'll go, this will be like our thing together that we can go do just to be a family and go like hang out. And so for 2016, I got him to like, he like all hit the gym and got all back into shape. And I was like, yeah, this is great. Yeah. And then, yeah, I bought like a second ski. So I had 2 race skis at the end of it. And then I blew one up and that was the last of it. So
dang.
Hopefully this year I can get back out there. We'll see.
Oh, sweet.
It's fun.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, for sure. I get like,
I've never won. Let's put it that way. But I'm having a good time. Okay.
That's what matters. It's just that you're having fun. Your Wake Awards this year. That's sick. Yeah. Like not only best video, but best content creator. Like what?
So
that's awesome.
Check this out. This is actually wild. So I woke up this morning. We'll go back to the Wake Awards thing, but I'm hyped. I'm hyped right now.
Sweet.
And check this out. So if you go on to Alliance Wakeboarding, you click on that. They deemed me King of Style today.
Oh, hell yeah.
I was not expecting that. That was like super rad. I was like, woke up and just kind of like, oh, no way. This is awesome.
That's
so
sweet.
I mean, this year's been crazy. You know what's funny is like, I feel like other years I've like tried so hard to like be this rider, right? Like so hard. And then the year that the COVID happens, I have a kid, I'm kind of locked down, just like, I don't want to say chilling because I like definitely got out and was doing as much as I possibly could. But like, it's crazy what the wakeboarding path has opened up this year. Like, I think, so like, yeah, I just got crowned this style king thing, which is like insane. Wake World gave pre-pandemic the Rider's Choice Award, which is like for the video. And then Wakeboarding Magazine did the pre-pandemic again. And then social content, or I don't know if it was just content creator, maybe social, I don't know, but content creator. And so like this year, like I'm tripping because prior to this year, and I don't know if this is like, yeah, I'm pretty sure prior to this year, I've never been awarded for my wakeboarding. I've only been awarded for my video editing skills. And so this year has just been a crazy, crazy year for me because I'm like, it's crazy. I've always wanted like something to be like, man, my wakeboarding, is like doing something. I mean, and do it for myself 100%. Like I
Yeah.
really, like I've always followed my own path. I really just don't care. Like if I won a contest or felt like, I don't know, I just look for like, I guess like my close friends to be like, man, that was tight. Like that's cool. That's a good feeling when your close friends are like, dude, that's sick. So like when I get a high five or a fist bump from like Josh, it's sick. But like to have the industry say now, like, dude, not only are you filming, but you're actually riding like decent too. Like I'm like super high. Like it's got me, I'm like, I have a fire underneath me right now to just do so much next year. Like I'm just hyped up on my video editing skills right now. Like I want to like take that to the next level. I'm hyped up on my riding right now. I just want to like continue to do me. And like it seems like everybody's stoked on it and I'm super pumped on it. So like I don't know, like this year's 2021 has been super nice to me and it's been really cool. I mean, I gotta say I did all this with the year that we have a little child. And so like me, I just feel like my wife and I get to like celebrate so much. So it's just like, it's cool. It's an exciting year. It's rad.
For sure. That's sweet. Yeah. Well,
So.
Congratulations on both those awards. And for this morning, that's sick too.
Right? I was
Style
like,
King.
I literally was like, this is crazy. Like, what the heck? There's so many riders out there that they could have chose and like put on that like pedestal, I guess. And the fact that they like saw my wake pants just flapping in the wind and they're like, that's cool. I was like, all right, I'll take it.
That was one of those weird questions I was gonna ask, because it'd be like, when did you start wearing wake pants? Nobody around here wears those.
Okay. So there's a story. There's a story behind this. And so I've been like hated on with them. I've been like stoked on with them. People have been like, that's awesome. People have been like, what are you doing, you kook? Like there's so many, like the split on it is hilarious. My whole thing on it is, dude, it's just a little longer than your shorts. Like, are you really gonna make fun of me? Like, okay, like sweet, dude. But okay, so how this all started is pretty interesting. So when I started winching and stuff, I was kind of already wearing more street clothes. When you wear street clothes and you're winching and a cop rolls by and you don't have your wakeboard by chance in your hands, they'll literally just keep going. You won't get caught. Like I've literally been on a spot where all the guys were down at the spot. The winch rope broke. And so I had to go get like a pulley or a carabiner or something. And so I was running up the bridge, just soaking wet. It was raining, but I was like soaking wet in my wakeboard boots, fully kitted, life jacket, like everything was like on except for my helmet. But I had like a shirt on, like pants on, the whole thing. And literally like 4 cops all walked right past me. Like I waved, I was like kept walking. And then they like freak out on everybody down at the spot and like are like gonna give them all tickets, like the whole thing. And I'm like, literally was like, no way. I literally just I could leave right now and not even like nobody would know. But like I went back and like, you know, whatever. But I literally walked back and they're like, who are you? And I was like, I'm with them. But like that's how much, like if you wear street clothes while you're winching, it's just like you don't want to wear a wetsuit and a life jacket in the middle of the street. One, that looks way kookier than actually just wearing street clothes. So anybody that wants to like differ that, like that, they can go deal that for themselves. But the way that it transferred over to boat was 2 reasons. One was Josh and I shot a cover together. In fact, I think I had, hang on one second.
Sweet, let's see it.
Okay, so, all right, I got it right here. Okay, so Josh and I shot this cover, right?
Mm-hmm.
So both of us rode for body glove wetsuits at the time. And we were fully kitted, wetsuited, everything, logos, the whole thing. We were body gloved out. That night, we went back to the house. Rodrigo shot that. We went back to his house. We were looking at the images and we were like, these are really, really sick. I think we could do it a little better. So we were going to go out the next day. Also that night, I went home and Body Glove had dropped Josh and I that day. So we just shot a cover with all of Body Glove's stuff on it. And Josh and I just lost our sponsors that day. So what we did was, we didn't have any other wetsuits, right? We had nothing. It was like we had been on their team for a few years. So we were fully like life jackets, Body Glove, wetsuit, like the whole kit, you know? And we're like, F this. So like we straight up put pants on, put shirts on, and we went out and shot our doubles cover the next day after we had already shot one, the next day with full clothes on, saying like, you don't want to support us, we're not supporting you. And like, there's no more like logos anywhere.
Yeah.
So we left on good terms. I don't want to like bag them that hard, but like they definitely stopped like they definitely put an end to it. And so we were putting an end to it at the same time. And that's where the pants started on the boat. Now, that whole year, it was just kind of like, I was like kind of into it. But what I realized is wakeboarding to me is a painting in a sense. It's a work of art. Okay.
Yeah.
So if my piece, in my eyes, wakeboarding looks like a full unison of cable, boat, and winch, why do I need to change the way that I look going from one aspect to another? Like, I feel like I'm an athlete of wakeboarding and I want to bring what I do to all realm of wakeboarding. And so what I found is when I'm videoing, because I'm sitting in front of the computer all day, watching like everything back, I noticed that when I go from pants and whatever in the streets filming winch, it looks really cool when I can bring that same look on the boat. So it's all uniform. So like, I'm not saying I have to wear pants, like I can wear shorts and a shirt or whatever it is. But what I'm saying is like, to have like a unison of like what your section looks like, I like that. I like wearing the same stuff winching as I am on the cable, as I am on the boat. And I think when your end all section comes together, it allows you to put a winch clip right next to a boat clip, right next to a cable trick, and it's not weird looking. Where like, if you're like in bright neon life jacket with bright neon pants in boat, and then you're like, oh, well, I need my cable kit, which is like something a little bit different. And then you have your like your winch kit that's like super urban. And then you try to put those clips together. It just looks weird. It just looks strange. So like, I don't know, for me, I was like, it stemmed from a sponsor dropping us, and it's turned into, wow, this is kind of cool. This is my vibe. I like wakeboarding as a whole, and I'm going to make my sections and my videos look like they're in unison rather than they're like individually picked out.
For sure.
So that's kind of, I don't know. I guess, I don't know. I just look at it different, I guess. I'm just like, I'm trying to like take wakeboarding as a whole and like unify it instead of it be like it's pretty divided. Like the cable riders, there's cable riders and there's boat riders. There's not many between. There's like a handful of like 10, maybe 15 guys that are pushing the limits on both sides. So like, I don't know, like if this is one way that I can help unify the whole sport and be like, man, I like the way he does cable. It might not be the most tech, but it's got like a flair to it. And then the same thing with boat. It might not be the most tech, but it's got a flair and you can do it all. Like, I don't know. I think that's kind of cool. And if I can bring that aspect to wakeboarding, I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
For real. That's sick. Yeah. There's that, I've watched the pre-pandemic video, like on repeat, like over and over and over again. And that the quote that's at kind of towards the end of it that says, for me, it's not about doing the hardest trick. It's about creating a sense of art and fluidity through wakeboarding. Like like hearing you talk about it now, it makes so much sense, like why you put that quote there. Cause it really like, you do like what you put into it it's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay. So like, I think that comes from trying like being the filmer and the editor and of like so many, not just my own videos, but so many other videos, right? Like I get to watch Josh ride every day. I get to watch Randall ride every day. I used to watch Ty every day. Anybody that comes out and they ask me to film them, I get to watch them. And like, there's so many different people that I get to watch and I get to I watch them on my screen so much. It's like, you know, when people are like, oh, I watched those videos so many times till the tape ran out. Like, I'm watching wakeboarding every day on my computer for hours. And I'm like critiquing myself and critiquing, honestly, I'll critique Josh just as hard as I critique myself. Like, I'm pretty open. Like, he's probably the one rider that I'll call like up and be like, yo, dude, your fingers look weird when you land. Like, they look like that instead of like, you know, style. Like, you got to redo the shot. Like, I'll be that critical with like Josh, like, because me and him have that relationship. But like, because of that, I see what I like of Josh's riding. I see what I like of Ty's riding, and I get to like zoom in and figure it out. I mean, not that I'm stealing. I don't want to say I'm stealing stuff, but I'm definitely like, I get ideas and I get like, I don't know, I take outside influence quite a bit. And like, for me, like I said, like, I like to look at the whole picture. So when you're saying like the art of wakeboarding, like, I try to take the whole picture when I start a film and be like, okay, how do I want my section to look throughout the whole entire making of this section, whether it's a web video or a full length, it doesn't really matter. You still want to look at it with like creative eyes.
For sure. Yeah.
So if you're just stuck on the trick, I feel like if you're just stuck on the trick, you're never going to get past what the rest of the film's going to look like. You'll just be like, well, I got 270 on, back 450, whatever, you know, like it's just not going to, it might look cool, but then at the end of the video, it might just look like a tornado went through and just like too much spinning or something. I don't know. So.
Yeah, that's sweet. Well, all right. Not only are you a creator of like all these videos and everything like that, like your board, like we wanted to talk a little bit about like what you've put into like the blueprint this year and like the graphic on that, just like stuff like that.
Yeah.
I definitely want to know a little more about it.
Yes, that's been a fun journey. So it's been cool because I'm getting to know the like graphic designers more and more every year. Every year I get to deal with them and like work with them, and we like mesh ideas off each other. But the beginning of my wakeboarding with Hyperlight, I was more of like they would send me stuff. Hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? I more so would just pick. Yeah, I like that of that. I like this.
Okay.
I like this. And that's for the Vagabond pretty much up until I want to say the last one. It was mostly just me picking from what they had to offer, which is awesome. They're great graphic designers. Like, they do all the Hyperlight boards and it's awesome. So, but that's kind of what I was doing. It was more picking rather than like designing. Pretty rad that I actually got a design almost 100%. Like, they made some tweaks and stuff, but the dipstick, not this year, but the last year one. This year I kind of did a little bit more of the picking thing, but both of my blueprints was 100% like my designs.
Nice.
And then the graphics guys just made them a lot better, if that makes sense. So like,
yeah.
I'll be like, hey, this is what I want. This is what I want. And I'd actually draw it out on Photoshop and like an idea. And then they would just make it like great and pop it and make it look awesome. So like the fingerprint graphic with like the like just algae graphic on the top, like that was like a photo from the Delta that I got.
Sweet.
Yeah, so and then this one right here is super fun to make. Like, I don't know, it's just, I don't know, we pretty much just gotta like, I just gotta like make exactly what I want, said this is what I want to go with, and they've been like super good with just like allowing me to do it. So yeah, it's been doing that side of it's been fun. Like that, when you ask about what I do in the winter, that's a lot of the stuff too, like all this design stuff. I do all my boards in the winter. I do all my boot design stuff in the winter. I do a lot of R&D stuff for all the companies in the winter. Like, there's just so much more creatively that I try to do other than just wakeboarding. Because like, I look at wakeboarding as like the athletic side of wakeboarding, but there's so much more to being a professional athlete, I would imagine, in all action sports than just riding. Like, a lot of boat shows happen in the winter, obviously not this year, but typically, you know, being face to face, a lot of just designing things and kind of putting your mind to work in a different way other than just like, what trick am I going to land today and how am I going to do it and how am I going to execute it and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know, that's like, I just try to step away so I can get creative because it's hard to do. It's hard to be creative and in the middle of wakeboarding all at the same time.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of like something like, how do I word this? Like more like you're definitely on that more like creative, like how you look at things side versus like competition riding. Like that's
Mm.
definitely a huge thing for you that I've noticed. I know a lot of other
I've done
people.
very few contests, which is,
Yeah.
it's funny. Rusty called me yesterday, and he was just talking to me about some other stuff and whatnot, maybe going out to Florida and hanging out with him for a little bit. But we got on the topic of just like longevity and everything, and I was like telling him like I'm getting pretty close to 10 years with Hyperlight right now, and he was like, no way. And we were kind of talking, and he was like, yeah, it was funny. He's like, if you know Rusty, the way he says it is what makes it funny. But he was like, you've been the way that you did wakeboarding, like, good job. Like, you did wakeboarding very like you've made your mark in like the weirdest way. So good job, which is so true. Like, I've done like maybe 3 pro contests, maybe,
Yeah.
and like I'm doing it. I'm doing wakeboarding my way, and like all the companies that are supporting me through it. And it's like they definitely took a leap of faith, and I hope that I'm like doing them justice. I hope they feel like they're just as stoked as I am to be a part of the team, because without these guys just being able to be like, hey, you don't compete, but here you go, like go do you, is like not everybody gets that privilege to do that. So to be able to have that is like pretty wild, and I'm very, very thankful for it. So
yeah. Do you want to shout out your sponsors real quick while we're on here?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. They're hanging on the wall right there. But yeah, Hyperlight, Fat Sack. So Hyperlight's the wakeboards that I ride. Super pumped. Like I said, they've been allowing me to come up with new designs, new shapes, gosh, the boots that we put out this year. There's just so much different things that they've like allowed me to like. They allowed me to chop off the back end of the system boot and come up with a low back systems. Like that's how and they're cool with it. They're like, yes, literally I remember the email and be like, oh yeah, you think chopping off the back of your high backs is a good idea? And I'm like, yeah. And like, well, send us over an email of why and show us like what you're doing, and I guess we'll like check out the idea. And next thing you know, they're in a box and they're being sold. And like to like have like influence on like that much influence on a company is like crazy. Like it's a dream. Like you would dream to that. So like, yeah, big shout out to Hyperlight. Not only like do they back me, but I back them 100%. So
nice.
Yeah, Hyperlight's rad. MB Boats, been with MB now, I want to 6 years, 5 years, something like that. Quite a while now. But yeah, man, same thing. We developed the 24 Tomcat this year, and gosh, I was out there a lot, R&D'ing this boat with Mike Sweeney, and then Josh, I think, came on pretty far after the R&D. I think a boat was like pretty much done, but he has helped like fine tune some of the things for sure. Yeah, like same thing. We got to get in the driver's seat and just like be like, hey, I think the wake should be like this. I think this should be like this. And that's a really, really cool opportunity. I get to go to their factory a lot. They're like only 2 hours away. So to know some of the guys that are like putting their hands on these boats and like sanding them and like touching them, and like all the upholstery people and like all those people, like it's just super fun to be able to have like just be able to go see them, meet them, talk to them. That's cool. And then the actual Brindells, super tight family, and yeah, I get to like go into the office and drink coffee with them, and so it's fun. MB Boats, super rad, all handcrafted. And yeah, it's a pretty amazing process to watch all that go down.
Yeah.
And then I have Fat Sack, which is incredible because I used Fat Sack all the time prior to even being on Fat Sack. So when they came to me and were like, yo, what do you think? I'm like, duh. Like that's an easy fit. Like I don't even have to like try to learn your product. I already know it with my eyes closed. I use it all the time. And so to be able to be with them, they're super open to ideas and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, oh, I want this color bag with this print on it, and they'll ship it over and like the next day. In fact, I was like, hey, I want a lounging seat for camping. Can you make me one? And they like went back and like made a seat and like sent it to me. And so now I have a camping chair. So like, yeah, like they're super rad. Like their Fat Sack's awesome. So Yeah, Fat Sack. And then one of my other buddies named Hayden, he started Waterco, which is like wax. They do wax for,
Okay.
I think, Follow. I think they do wax for a couple other brands as well. I use them all the time. So yeah, that's really cool. He kind of wants to turn it into like a crew, like
Oh, okay.
Waterco crew. So
Yeah.
we'll see how all that goes. I've been super pumped to, just put their sticker on the board and get some wax, and
For sure.
yeah, just stoked. So other than that, yeah, just been cruising.
That's awesome. Well,
But-
my lunch break is coming to an end. I'm gonna have to get
Oh,
back down
okay.
to
Well,
the
I finished
shop.
my food.
Oh, you're all done? I barely
I'm
touched
done.
mine, but it's all good.
I know I saw you take maybe like 3 bites, so you're gonna have to have another lunch
I
break.
was
just
very
to get your
invested in
lunch
hearing
break.
what you had to say. Now I'll
Yeah.
scarf it down before I get back to the selling floor. So
There you go. There you go.
yeah, it'll be all
So-
good. But thank you, like, to the moon and back so much for talking with me. This has been really sick. I'm stoked on it. So
Yeah. No, thanks for having me. It's been fun. I enjoy talking, and with all this COVID stuff, I don't know, you don't get to see as many faces,
I
talk
know.
that much, and hear other people's stories and everything. So I'm a little excited for it to go back to normal. I like
For
interaction.
sure. Seriously. Well, that's how I feel. Like, I've worked here for 2 years. I've never even like traveled with Active anywhere. Like, we've never done anything because there's always something going on. So
Yeah.
hopefully this year we'll get to do some stuff like that. Maybe we'll get to meet in person. That'd be cool.
Maybe. I've been going out to that Evening with the Stars for a bit, but I know last year, I don't even know if it happened. No, you guys did virtual. And then the year before that, I think I was out of town. I think I was in the Philippines.
Oh, sick. Well, that's not a bad place to be, right?
Yeah, that place is all time.
Hell yeah. Well, I will let you go about your day. Thank you so much. It's been
Thank
really
you.
sick.
Thanks for
Yeah.
having me. Yeah, for
I
sure.
I don't know how to end a Zoom meeting, so
I think you just hit the leave
oh, I
button.
see it. Here it is. All right. Peace, Trevor. Thanks so much.
See you later.
Bye.